So the state pension, obviously, you're all going to get that eventually when you get to your state pension age. The state pension is currently payable between 66 and 67, but that is going to rise to 68 for those younger people. So it is possible that the state pension age can increase. So it currently is between 66 and 67, but it is there and it's going to move up to 68 for those younger people. In 2022, the standard basic state pension was £185.15 per week. So that's working out approximately £9,600 a year that's paid to you from the state. Any local government pension, so if you've joined West Yorkshire Pension Fund, you'll get a pension from the local government pension scheme from ourselves in addition to the state pension. So it's you know, you're going to get a bit more income when you do finally retire. What do you get when you claim the pension? So you're going to get a pension which is paid for the rest of your life. Okay, so it doesn't stop, it's paid for the remainder of your life, and it's in addition to the state. And with this pension scheme, you also get an option to take a tax-free lump sum at the point you claim this pension benefit. As well as getting a pension, this pension scheme also offers life protection in the form of a death grant. So for our active members that are in the pension scheme, if you die whilst being an active member, while still in current employment, there's a death grant that's payable to whoever you've nominated, which is currently worked out about 3 times your actual pay. So that is an addition benefit as well as the pension that we would pay you when you finally retire. Also, as part of the pension scheme, there's an ill health retirement protection as well. So if we had any members that they became too poorly to carry on in employment, it may be possible that you can qualify for early retirement through ill health grounds, and pensions are paid and sometimes enhanced depending on the level of tier that's awarded. So that's another protection that's there, that's built in the rules and regulations of this pension scheme. So the normal pension age, which is the age when you can access this pension without any reductions, is now linked to your state pension age. So that's anything between 66 and 68, depending on when you were born. However, you can access this pension from age 55, but it would be with reductions because you'd be accessing it before your state pension age. Next slide, Ian, please. So we get asked as well, is the pension scheme good value for money? And we believe it is. So on average, the local government pension scheme members' pension will have paid back all the cost of the contributions, what it's going to cost you within the first 3.5 years of you claiming your pension benefits. So about 3.5 years' time, you will have received back the contributions that you've paid in order to get this pension. And the average length of time that a pension is in payment is currently just over 15 years. So like I said, we pay the pension to as long as you live. It really does depend on lifelong longevity as such, but we do pay this pension, and currently it's in payment for over 15 years at the moment, just looking at facts and figures. Next slide, please, Ian. So how much does this pension cost? So it's based on your gross pensionable pay and what your earnings are, and you're allocated a band, or your employer allocates you a band depending on your pay. So if you were earning £25,000 gross pay a year, you would be paying 6.5% towards the pension based on your pay. Those that work part-time and only a few hours a week, it's likely that you're paying 5.5%. But the members pay currently according to this banding. This table does change each year in April, so it goes up with the cost of inflation. This is the current table that's in operation at the moment. It will be getting updated from the 1st of April, and your employer's in charge of deducting the correct percentage and paying those contributions across to us. Okay, next slide, please, Ian. So how much does it cost? So obviously you're going to be paying a percentage based on your current gross pensionable pay, but any contributions that you do pay across to us, they're deducted at source through your payroll department, and you will get tax relief on those contributions. So the headline figure is actually less than it looks. Now, I know at the moment we're going through the cost of living crisis. So it may be that you're considering thinking of opting out, or you're not actually wanting to join the pension scheme and not pay the pension contributions, which is completely understandable. But there is another option rather than you opting out or putting off joining, and you could elect to go into the 50-50 section of the pension scheme. So this is something that's available now for all our current members that have joined the pension scheme. So next slide, please, Ian. Okay, gone on too far on one of them. Thank you. Okay, so the 50-50 section. So I was asked to speak about this just because it may be appropriate, like say with the cost of living crisis. So rather than coming out of the pension scheme completely, you can elect to go into the 50-50 section, and you would pay half the amount of pension contributions that you would currently pay, but you only build up half the amount of pension. So obviously you're only paying for half of it. You get half the amount of pension during the time that you're in the 50-50 section. Anybody that does go into the 50-50 section does still keep the full ill health and death in service protection. So if you did die whilst being an active member, the calculation is still the same whether you're in the 50-50 section or the main scheme, and you still get that full ill health protection as well. The employer still pays the full contribution rate into the pension scheme. It's literally just the member that would pay half, and you would receive half the amount of pension during the time that you're in the 50-50 section. It's seen put there as a temporary solution, so it may be beneficial for some of you at the moment. And anybody that does elect to go into the 50-50 section, you would be brought back into the main scheme, the main section, every 3 years. So it's there just as a temporary solution while maybe you're going through some financial difficulties. If that is something that you are interested in, so rather than coming out the pension scheme completely, or have decided to put off joining, then you can complete a 50-50 form, which is available on our website, and give that to your payroll department. And anybody that hasn't joined the pension scheme and you're wanting to possibly join the pension, then if you speak to your employer, they can give you an opt-in form, so you can actually start getting pension contributions deducted and actually join the pension scheme. Okay, next slide, please, Ian. Okay, if you are interested in finding more out about this pension, we do have lots of information available to you on our website. So the website address is wypf.org.uk, and so we have lots of information on there, as well as some bite-sized videos that just helps you maybe understand your annual pension statement and things like that. We are also going to be shortly advertising some awareness sessions that we're going to be putting on for our members, and we're going to go through little bits about the pension scheme. I can talk to you about pensions for a whole week. I've been in a pension scheme years and years, so we're going to try and break this down because it is quite complicated and not a lot of people understand how their pension works. So if that's something that you're interested in, then just look out for one of these awareness sessions that we're looking to advertise shortly. Okay, next slide, please, Ian. If you've not already done so if you've joined the pension scheme and you're one of our active members, we have an online member portal that you can sign up for, which is called My Pension, and that will enable you to access your pension account online. It's available for all our active contributors, for all our active members, deferred members and people that are already on pension. And it will allow you to see your own pension record. It will also allow you to download your documents, so your annual pension pension statements. It will allow you to update your death grant nomination, and you can update your details such as your name and address and things like that. So if you've not already done so, then I would encourage you to sign up for My Pension, which you can do through our website. Active members as well, once you've signed up, you can now actually run your own estimates. So you can actually do your own pension forecast and plan for the future and work out what you're likely to get at different dates rather than what's on your pension statement, which is currently your state pension age, 65th, 60th and 55th birthday. So if you don't want to go on them dates, you can go whenever you want. You can actually run your own estimate to a date that you're thinking of going. So they are quite useful. So definitely something to sign up for if you've not already done so. There's some other useful websites that you may find of interest. The main one of those is the LGPS website, because obviously the West Yorkshire Pension Fund administers the local government pension scheme, the LGPS, which is a nationwide pension scheme run up and down the country. It's just administered by different authorities, West Yorkshire Pension being one of those. Okay, next slide, please, Ian. Okay, after today, obviously I'm going to stay towards the end of the meeting, so if we do have any questions, I will be around. But if you do have any questions that relate to your pension after today, then you can contact our contact centre either by email or you can call them directly. And like I say, we do have a website that does have loads of useful information on there for you as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, it's just a disclaimer slide just to say what I've covered today is current and it's under the current rules and regulations that are in operation. Next slide, Ian. I think that is the end of the presentation then, I believe. Yes, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the West Yorkshire Pension Fund coming on to this. For people that have joined later while that's been going on, that was Cheryl, and thank you very much for the West Yorkshire Pension Fund. Thank you also if you have joined us late or you listen to this recording. Thank you. Right, so I will now share again to this one. Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us on there. If you have got your camera on or your sound on, if you could turn that off for me, that would be greatly appreciated. This is being recorded and it will be available to you after this. My name's Ian Brewer. I'm from Bradford District Credit Union. I'm the Financial Inclusion Development Officer here, and I'll just talk you through what the credit union is and how that can benefit you, but also a little bit about our history. Well, the first thing is that back in 1993, when John Major was in power and there was a major recession of the early 90s, staff of Bradford Council couldn't get loans from their banks. And they were talking to HR about this and asking HR if there was a way of being able to work around this. So Bradford Council decided to set up their own credit union, which they call Bradford District Credit Union, for staff to be able to save into the pot and then borrow out of that same pot if they wanted to. So by having staff saving and borrowing through that, they were able to set up their own credit union by doing so. And just incidentally, that was 30 years ago, and we are having our 30th anniversary this year in July. We're coming up on 30 years. And 2005, in communities that were part of the council had the housing stock. When they set up in communities, they also wanted the credit union. So we became a district-wide credit union at that point. Two things happened in 2015 that were quite a game changer. The first was that we were one of the first credit unions to adopt online banking. So that enabled people to check their balance and move their money out of their account into another account of their choice without coming down to the branch. That enables us to grow. We now have a smartphone app. If you go Bradford Credit Union into your smartphone store, you'll find our app there. So you can also check your balance and move your money out of your account. Second thing was, if you cast your mind back to that time, there was lots of payday lenders coming on the scene, making a lot of money out of a lot of people. Bradford Council was concerned about this, and they wanted to have a financial inclusion development officer to work with communities to highlight the dangers of payday lenders and also to grow the credit union that they'd already started themselves. Anyway, so that made a lot of sense. In 2019, we built a relationship with Kirklees Council, and Kirklees Council Kirklees then became part of our common bond, our legal area that we were allowed to work in, as well as Craven. So we cover the corridor from Huddersfield all the way up to Skipton, and anybody who lives or works for a company that's domiciled in any of those three areas is able to join the credit union. What's been interesting is to see the growth of the credit union. So up until 2015-16, we had about 3,000 members, and we've added 6,500 members since then to 9,500 members. Of those, we have about 3,000 people, bearing in mind we didn't have anybody financially excluded previous to 2015. We have 3,000 financially excluded people that are able to save and borrow through the credit union. And we are also faith friendly. And that means because we pay a dividend on our savings, that it's halal for people from Islamic background to be able to save ethically with us. They're able to do so because we are faith friendly. What's interesting as well is the amount of savings that we have. So if you've could you just mute yourself if you're on sound? People across Bradford, Kirklees and Craven, we recognise as an area of deprivation. And usually when I ask people that question, how much do 9,500 people save? People guess anywhere between 100,000 and £1 million. Well, I'm really glad you're sitting down today because we look after a staggering £7.5 million for 9,500 members, something we're extremely proud of. And it just shows how effective a credit union is in getting people to do what they struggle to do on their own, and that's getting to a savings habit. We build financial inclusion bridges. People very aware of from taking people from financial vulnerability to financial resilience. The problem, it's very clear, 1 in 5 people have no savings at all. 2022, inflation's causing basic food costs to rise. 6.5 million families are in fuel poverty. Solution is through a credit union. We provide an ethical community anchor that provides a vehicle to help people get into a savings habit as well as access to an affordable loan. Now, we couldn't do what we do without the support of our payroll partners, of which Bradford Council and Kirklees Council are both are. So some of you may be members today. We appreciate your support because by people saving through their payroll, they save more often, and if they borrow from us, they very seldom default. And that allows us to take a chance on those people the banks would not touch with a barge pole. And that allows us to work with the financially excluded to give them loans through that. But we can only do that through the work of our payroll partners. 1 in 4 staff say their money worries negatively affects their ability to do their job. 1 in 8 staff live in poverty unknown to their employers. 82% of workers have turned to high-cost credit, and there's an alarming rise of loan sharks, which Mike will be filling us in on a little bit later. And this means that many people have low credit score, and this is often a barrier to affordable loans. We hear that through our payroll partners all the time. Through our financial well-being, we help to improve performance. Over 4,000 staff save and borrow at 34 companies. Staff save a staggering £4.9 million and borrow over £2 million. And all our loans help to build up credit scores for people. And that's a spattering of some of the companies that we are currently working with. So we also have different sort of savings accounts. So people can save into a Christmas savers if they want to. That's a locked account until the end of November. It enables people to plan towards Christmas. Through your payroll savings, you can also save into a children's account or a grandchild's account. If you have access to their birth certificate, you can open one of those and have some of your deductions is sent to a child's account, or grandchild, as I said. And we also do lending, such as our new consolidation loan that we launched just about 6 weeks ago on BBC and Look North. We were able to do that, and we're able to offer a low rate for people to be able to consolidate their loans. So lending we do is anywhere from £200 to £15,000, and our savings are protected up to £85,000. Due also to the loan shark people that we have on today, Mike, is after £25, after 3 months of saving with us, the illegal money lending team are able to offer a £25 incentive for doing so. So how do you join the credit union? By going to bdcu.co.uk, at the top area, you'll see the blue button, join. By joining that, you'll be able to work through and fill in an online form. What you would need to have with you is either your passport or your driving license or provisional driver's license. You need a debit card because your first £5 of saving is taken from your account that proves your address, and your wage number from your wage slip when you fill in your employer details. We do all the work from that. We contact your employer. We tell them that you now want to start saving with the credit union. And on your wage slip, just along with your other deductions, you will see the credit union coming up there with the amount that you have deducted. If you wanted to change that, you can just contact us. We change that and send that back to your employer, so that gets changed. And if you leave your employer with the employment in the payroll deduction scheme, you can revert to standing order and saving through standing order. We are much more than a poor man's bank. And we are much more than just doing savings and loans, because we do community development projects. I'm going to quickly take you through some of the flagship projects that we have. First one is we have a financial inclusion workshop called Money SOS. It enables people to understand some of the main things that people don't understand about banking, such as APR, such as a payday loan, so how contactless works, how overdraft works, and how credit score works. Just picking up on APR, for example, many people know it means annual percentage rate, but what that actually means, they're not actually totally sure. Your average bank lends between 6 and 20% based on your credit rating. If you aren't able to get one of those bank rates, and it's estimated that only 40% of the UK population can get those rates, so about 60% of the population are going to go somewhere else. One of the cheapest options for people with poor credit score is a doorstep lender. They start at a staggering 272% APR. That's what a lot of people are facing on our estate. To put that into context, a £500 loan over just 12 months at 272% APR is £410 worth of interest. That's a £910 loan for just £500 over just 12 months. If you're looking at payday lenders, they're anywhere between 1,000, 4,000% APR. So if people can't get bank rates and struggling, that's where credit union often comes in for people. One of the things we'll be able to do, and one of the reasons why we are so successful, is we have a relationship with America, who have community development credit unions. I was over there in last August talking to them about what we were doing in Bradford, because we've been able to merge some of the things that we've learned from America and bring them here to the UK. And this is some of this conferences, roadshows and workshops that we've done over the years. We also do work in Kirklees, such as the community engagement with the Dalton Together for people in the Kirklees area, and Cheryl Reed is my main contact for that. Some of the other things we've been able to do is such as the COVID loan, which we were very first council out of COVID to be able to offer people a loan where they could, if they were furloughed, being able to get a loan at 0% at the time to be able to help people back into work. We have Uniform Savers. We had Uniform Savers 1, which was a great success, and we've just started Uniform Savers 2, that's funded by Bradford Council and Public Health, and that enables people to save up for a school uniform with £100 incentive funded by the council to get people into a savings habit. We have 285 people we were able to help last year, and we're presently building that same again for this year. And the other flagship project that we have is Food Savers, where people are able to save in the community. And this is with our partners in churches in Bradford, who have been able to start 16 pantries where people come down and be able to choose the food they want, and they pay a contribution of £6 for a bag of shopping that's worth on average £30, and £1 of that goes into the credit union. This has been so successful that people have saved way beyond their £1 because they bring money down from under the mattress or in shoe boxes and all sorts of money that they have around, and they've decided to bring that down. So for 16 pantries, and we have 172 savers, and those savers saved nearly £30,000, really showing what we can do when we work together in the community. And just a final reminder there of the £25 incentive. And I'm going to stop there. And I hope you found that helpful. And I'm now going to bring on Mike. Are you there, Mike?
I'm here, Ian.
Are you able to share your screen, mate? Or do you want me to share?
Yeah, I think I can share mine.
Okay.
I think.
Fantastic.
All right. Let me just see if we can go back and forward. Yeah. All right. Hi, folks. My name is Mike McCourtry. I work for the Illegal Money Lending team. I was just listening to what Cheryl and Ian were saying there. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about why I'm here to talk to you today. So I think it's really interesting to hear from Cheryl about the pension scheme. I wasn't aware that of the fact that I personally have been thinking about, can I afford the pension contributions that I'm making? And I wasn't aware about the 50-50 scheme. So that's really interesting to hear about. I just wanted to talk about loan sharking, illegal lending. It's the same thing in terms of how it might affect you. So one of the things that I picked up from what Ian was saying was that about all the different interest rates that there are for all the different kinds of loans. It's probably worth making clear that there is no interest rate cap in this country. There's a very specific one for payday loans, but generally, if you've got a permission to lend from the Financial Conduct Authority, you can lend at pretty much whatever interest rate you want. Which is quite different from other countries, really. And one of the reasons that I mention that is that it's very easy to lose control of your borrowing. I don't think there'll be many people in the country, apart from people that are very rich, and probably very few people on this call, that will not have felt the pinch over the last year or so. Things have, I think it's been the most expensive time relatively since 1956. Food's gone up, fuel's gone up, everything seems to have gone up. And I think people's mortgages too in the last year, and I think that's going to be pushing people towards potentially borrowing more money or struggling to make the payments on loans that they've already got. We had a piece of research done for us, so just to explain, and I'll tell you a little bit more as we go along. We are the organisation that investigates and prosecutes loan sharks in England. We have we're a joint police and trading standards team, so we investigate and prosecute loan sharks. And then we provide support to people that have borrowed and have been targeted by them. So the last bit of research that was done, which came out in April last year, showed that there was over 1 million people in England borrowing from loan sharks, which is a lot more than we even thought ourselves, and we work in it every day. It's probably worth asking what a loan shark is. There's all sorts of, I imagine that people will have seen various soaps and programs with loan sharks on, tend to be kind of bald heads and, going around threatening people with baseball bats. And we've got a few of those. We've come across a few of those in the prosecutions and investigations we've done. But we've had loan sharks of all shapes and sizes. From employers, we've had You know, we've had senior doctors lending, we've had people in all different kinds of workplaces. We've got at least a quarter, if not a third, of the people that we investigate and prosecute are women. So a loan shark can look very different from who you might expect them to be, expect them to look like. And the thing that I think I've come across in every case that I've ever dealt with in the 14 years I've worked in this team is that loan sharks have got a way of operating, and it's very much nice, nasty Jekyll and Hyde. So when people meet them, and usually introduced by word of mouth, although we've seen a lot on social media as well recently, then the loan shark's really friendly, offers the money up front. This is, you know, we'll don't worry about it, we'll pay it back, we'll sort it out. And then when someone is unable to pay the amount that the loan shark wants, they turn nasty and there's threats and intimidation. So this is very much a pattern, and we've seen, you know, case after case after case where people have generally started out borrowing a small amount of money, and perhaps £100 or £200, and have ended back paying multiple thousands. I think the worst case that I've ever seen was a guy that borrowed £250 when he was 16 or 17 actually to buy a car. By the time we spoke to him when he was 31, he paid back £90,000 to a loan shark who just carried on taking his money from him. And that's an extreme case, but basically when a loan shark gets their claws into you, they see you as a way of making money, and they want money from you every month. The loan doesn't go down, they just want you to keep on paying.
Mike, could you just expand your into the slideshow for me?
Oh, okay. Is it not showing?
No, we're just seeing the full pack. If you can put it into.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Slideshow.
Slideshow.
Current slide.
Is that better?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay. So yeah, and just in terms of who can be affected by illegal lending, we had a report done last year, and I think in the past it used to be often people that were really struggling for money, that were on very low wages, were on benefits. But the reality is that the cost of living crisis has been so great that we're seeing people across all different demographics and sectors in the country that have managed to become involved with an illegal lender or a loan shark. It's the same thing. And it's a kind of a lot of people kind of get there by often starting with other credit. And as Ian said before, only 40% of people can get the best rate of credit, and I thought it was actually less than that. But once people start borrowing on credit cards, the payments start becoming too expensive. If you start missing payments, then there's always companies that will be able to offer you loans at a higher rate of interest, and that just can get too much. And we see people sort of slowly falling down the credit ladder, and in the end borrowing from people that don't have a permission to lend. So the definition of a loan shark is someone that has lending money as a business to two or more people without the correct permission to lend from the Financial Conduct Authority. It's nothing to do with interest rates. It's nothing even to do with violence or threats. That's the definition of a loan shark. In terms of people that fall victim to that, I've seen people from relatively successful businessmen that have got in trouble. Just speaking to a nurse last week. All sorts of different people fall victim to this. And I think the way that we are about money in this country, and probably across the world actually, we'd almost rather talk about anything else rather than money. The people that did the Centre for Social Justice that did the report on our project last year, their headline to that was "We're a nation of money secrets," and they found that a huge percentage of people were keeping secrets even from members of the family around money, whether that's an extra credit card, and so or a wider range of debts or whatever. People feel ashamed about it and don't talk about it, and this is part of the issue. So just in terms of what people borrow from loan sharks for, that's those that you can see in front of you. That's the percentages that in the last count that we had. 10% people borrowed were homeowners, 10% had earnings over 30 grand a year, and 16% of people met their lender in the person they borrowed from in the workplace. And we've seen this as something that's really on the rise at the moment. Someone in a workplace, and that can be in a local authority. We've had plenty of those. A warehouse, we've had fishermen, taxi drivers, nurses, a whole range of different people that have met someone in the workplace that said, look, I'll lend you some money, we'll sort it out, and have ended up getting into trouble because of that. And the other thing that's probably worth mentioning as well is that something I didn't think we'd ever see is loan sharks operating online. So what that was, we prosecuted the first individual last year that was doing that, and he was meeting people via WhatsApp and Snapchat. He's never actually meeting them in person. He was transferring money to them and then making threats to them if they didn't pay on time. And those threats would involve sending pictures of their front door and making threats against them and their children. And he went to prison for that last year. But this is something that's on the rise. So people are being introduced on all different kinds of social media, borrowing money from someone that they don't know, and then receiving threats and making huge payments back to people that they've met there. I never thought we'd see that. I'd always thought it'd be someone that would be met face to face, and then that would how they could be intimidated. But that's what we are seeing. I think it's worth saying as well that the reality of credit is that almost everyone, if not everyone in society, has a need at some point in the year to access credit. It's, you know, as it says on that slide, 85% of all UK adults hold at least one credit or loan product. There's very few people that don't or are able to get through a whole year without needing to borrow some money here and there. And I think partially that is where what Ian's been talking about saving being hugely important, and we'll come on to saving as well in terms of the payroll offer that's being made. I started off making payments via working for a local authority 15 or so years ago. I started, I think, at £20 a month and then built it up a little bit from that. I've not got loads in there, but just having that cushion of savings, particularly as it's gone out before you actually see it. So it comes out like Ian says, like every other deduction. You don't feel it quite as much if it's not there. And then it just builds up your savings and then your ability to potentially borrow from a safe organisation like the credit union. So just the question why people use loan sharks. It's really, I find this difficult to believe, but it happens. I think over 90% of the people that we've spoken to that borrowed from a loan shark and were ended up being targeted by them, threatened, sometimes coerced into criminal activity, certainly harassed and had lots of money taken from them, were introduced by a friend or someone they know. And very often, the people that start borrowing don't understand that the lender is a loan shark. Most loan sharks don't offer paperwork, but some do. We're dealing with a case in Leeds and Bradford at the moment where the guy very much appears to be an official doorstep, legal lender, but he isn't. And most of the people don't know that they are borrowing from a loan shark until they try and ask for when they're going to be able to pay the loan off, and they're told, "Oh, we'll get back to you next week," and they're never told, and they have to carry on paying.
Mike, sorry to interrupt. We're just getting feedback that we're still stuck on the victim slide.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not expanded.
Oh, okay. Do you want to, Ian? Do you want to take it back to you, because it's right. On my computer? It is.
If you stop sharing, then
yeah. Just give me a shout when you've got it all.
Bear with me.
Yeah, thanks for
that. Just get to where we need to be. Which slide were you on?
One further on from that, Ian, or maybe two on. Yeah, okay. Can you just move us one on from that? Yeah, okay. So just in terms of the majority, probably the thing that I do most in my job is working with people that have borrowed from loan sharks and have also got always have got lots of other debt as well, because when people have borrowed money from a loan shark, paying of even of important payments like rent and mortgage and council tax becomes not as important a thing at all, because they're so focused on paying money back to the loan shark. I dealt with a guy in Leeds over the Christmas period that was paying back. He was working 7 days a week as a mobile mechanic. He was earning £740 and paying £540 back to the loan shark every week, who were just insisting that he got it. And he was just about to be evicted from his house. He hadn't got any money to feed his kids, but all he could think about was paying that loan shark back, because he was so afraid of what would happen if he didn't. And that £540 a week that he was paying didn't reflect anything about what he borrowed. It was just what the loan shark was demanding. So, people get put in this position where they're being extorted out of money because they've borrowed from someone that they're scared of. And people very often assume that they won't get credit elsewhere. And I think one of the if we can move on a slide, Ian, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one that I wanted really. So I think one of the across England, we work with credit unions all over the place because we see credit unions as being the solution or part of the solution to helping people that are struggling, or indeed anyone that would like to be involved in something that's healthy around money. So you can see on the screen in front of you the reasons why you should go to a credit union rather than a loan shark. And it's probably worth saying as well, if we move on to the slide after that, Ian, that in terms of this is a slide that you will have seen before, we're very keen to promote this, that the money that's coming to fund the £25 that's been put into people's accounts when they start saving is directly from the pockets of loan sharks. So when we investigate and prosecute loan sharks, we take them to court, and the court decides whether they're guilty or innocent, usually almost always guilty. But as well as that, we take what we call proceeds of crime action against them. So we've had loan sharks over the years that have got multiple sports cars, holiday homes abroad, huge mansions, pop star lifestyles, and all sorts of different stuff like that. And so what we'll look to do is to seize any of their assets that they aren't able to prove that they got through legal means, which is something that you can do under proceeds of crime. And so any money that comes into I urge anyone who's not a member of the credit union to join and save for a bit and get you £25. That money has come directly from the pocket of a loan shark. So that's that's a way of us giving back a little bit, really. So that isn't government money or whatever. That's money that's come from proceeds of crime. Just if any of you work for organisations, obviously I can't see where you all come from. If any of you work for organisations that deal with people that are vulnerable to loan sharking for whatever reason, we see a lot of different people that are vulnerable. Some telltale signs might be, we see a huge amount of people with disabilities that are stuck at home, not always stuck at home, but often stuck at home, that are targeted by loan sharks. And the reason that they are is often because they get what we call a personal independence payment once a month to help with their disabilities, and loan sharks love to take that off them. So people with disabilities are a group that we see a lot overrepresented in the people that we deal with. But indeed, if you're working with anyone that's struggling with money in whatever way, we will be delighted to come and help you look at spotting people that might be struggling within the work that you do. Training staff, all of that's free. We're government funded, so we can do that. So I think our contact, these slides are going to go around, aren't they, Ian? So the contact details are on there. So please get in touch if anyone's interested in working with us. This is just how anyone, and obviously this will go around too, but this is how anyone who has information about a loan shark or a legal lender, or knows someone that has, or just has any queries about it, can get in touch. So we've got a 24/7 hotline at the top there. People can ring that in, and it can be anonymous, confidential. We don't record the calls. We've got an app, we've got web chat from 9 to 5, we've got email and text service as well. So if anyone's got any queries whatsoever, and that can be to give us lots of information about someone that's loan sharked in their area, right through to having just a query about what a loan shark is, or anything at all with that, we'd be delighted to speak to you. I think the other way, Ian. Yeah, okay, that's the contact details of me and my colleague Trish, who's not here today. Just as you see birmingham.gov.uk there, that's a bit confusing. We work all across England. I'm based in Yorkshire, but because we're a trading standards team, we have to be based within a local authority, and that local authority happens to be Birmingham. Just because our email addresses are Birmingham doesn't mean that we don't operate across the country, but it's a bit confusing to say the least, and I must have to explain that every day. But I'd be delighted if anyone would like to get in touch. And again, you're probably getting quite used to this slide now, but yeah, it's just to say that I'd urge you, or anyone that you work with, so if you're not a member of the credit union already, it's a brilliant thing to get involved with anyway. But the fact is that if you save for 3 months, we're going to give you £25 towards your own money in your savings anyway. So I think it's a no-brainer. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly pass over to Ian, because I think do you want to mention the consolidation loan again?
Yes, I will do. Thank you very much for that, Mike. Just to remind people that if you are interested in going on our website, anyway, it's www.bdcU.co.uk. But we also launched in January a consolidation loan to help people with. Sorry, let me just mute that. To help people consolidate their finances. And we launched that in January, and that's still ongoing. You'll find that and all the other things that we do on the website on that. So what I wanted to do now, just in the final bit there, let's just view that into there. Okay, there we go. Just give people any chance for any questions you wanted to ask. You can use the chat function for that, or if you want to just quickly unmute yourself if you've got a particular question, and one of the panel will look to answer that. We've got a question here for Cheryl. Cheryl, I don't know if you can see that question in the chat there. If you could read out the question, Cheryl, if you can see that. You're on mute, Cheryl.
Apologies, technical, I'm rubbish, aren't I? Okay, so the question is, would an increase in salary in April this year make a positive difference to a pension if taken in December of the same year? Yes, any increase to your salary will increase that pension from when you're starting, when that increase happens. The pension schemes, it's depending on when you've got final salary benefits and the care pension. We do 3 different calculations to calculate your pension benefits. So it is quite complicated, and I don't have the time to explain the different calculations today. But yes, any increase to your pension, to your salary, will then benefit your pension going forward. So even if it's just for a couple of months, that higher salary, you will have pension contributions taken on that, and that will go towards the build-up of your pension pot.
Thank you very much for that. I'm just checking the chat there. Hemsley, you've asked about the McLeod judgment. I don't know what that relates to. I've not come across that before. If you want to put something further in the chat about that. Sarah Holroyd has asked about the areas of Kirklees Council. Kirklees Council, if you work for Kirklees Council, it shouldn't matter where you live. You're able to join the credit union. If you're having difficulties with that, if you can email me, my email's in the chat there, but I also sent out the link. So it's ian.brewer@bdcu.co.uk. So we'll look into that for you personally if you're struggling to join for whatever reason and you're from Kirklees or Bradford Council. There's another one there for you, Cheryl. Can we contribute to our pensions?
You can, well, if you're in the pension scheme through your contract of employment, you'll be paying contributions anyway, but you can increase your pension as well. So you can pay additional contributions and buy extra pension directly through West Yorkshire Pension Fund, or you could pay AVCs, additional voluntary contributions, through Prudential and Scottish Widows, and they increase your pension benefits. There's a lot more information on our website under the active members tab. If you're looking for, I think it says ways to increase your pension benefits, and those are 2 different ways. So have a look at the website about the 2 different ways to increase your pension benefits. The McLeod one as well, Ian, it is to do with pensions.
Okay.
It's just, it's overriding legislation that's being looked at about the change to the age when they changed the final salary scheme to a care scheme, and it's just going through legislation at the moment. What we do at the pension scheme is, if you'd have been better off having your benefits calculated under final salary rather than the care scheme as it stands now, we do a comparison and pay the best anyway. But again, there's information, you should be able to find that on our website, but it's not gone through law yet.
Excellent. There's another couple of there for you, Cheryl.
Okay, yeah, can you draw down on your pension at 55? Okay, so the earliest we can pay this pension other than ill health grounds is from age 55, but you have to finish the employment that you're paying your contributions through. The alternative would be flexible retirement, which you have to be age 55 or over. That will allow you to take your pension and carry on working in the same employment that you're paying your pension contributions on, but that can only be done with the consent of your employer. And between 55 and 60, there's sometimes a cost to the employer to allow that to happen, so they don't always allow that. They would find out through us with an estimate. We would tell them if there's a cost or not, and then it's up to that employing organisation to either agree flexible retirement or not. You can't, with this pension scheme, you can't draw down and take a 25% lump sum as such, like you can with defined contribution schemes. It's a defined benefit scheme and it doesn't allow that in our rules and regulations. You can access this from age 55, but you have to have finished employment that you're paying your contributions through. Okay.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for that. Just quickly looking again at the chat.
Okay, I've got another one as well.
You've got another one. Do you want to
take that one? If so, it's asking if you take flexible retirement in August, but the next pay rise isn't paid until later in the year after the pension has been backdated, will it be backdated? Any backdated pay awards for those members that have left and the employer has notified us, they would take, or they should take, pension contributions on your backdated pay because it's pensionable pay, and then they notify us of that revised pay so we can recalculate your pension benefits. So that's something that your employee would do. They would pay across those contributions taken from the backdated pay award, and then there's another form for them to complete if they've already told us that you've left, so we can then recalculate those pension benefits.
Excellent. Thank you. There's some savings questions there from me, mainly from Charlotte. So the £25 is paid after 3 months of saving, that we then apply that for funding from the legal money lending team, which can take up to 8 weeks for us to get through, but you would be paid after doing that. You're asking about other contributions. I think you might be talking about the dividend. So we have a dividend system, so we don't have a set rate of interest on savings, which is the faith-friendly aspect that I was talking about earlier. So because we're an ethical organisation and not for profit, any profit that is made by the company is given back to members in the form of a dividend. And that's usually every year around about March time, February, March time, after our AGM, when we decide what that is. I think that may be what you might be talking about as an extra contribution beyond the £25, Charlotte. Any other questions from anybody? You can email me in. My email's in the chat there. It's also what I sent out. I will be sending out the recording, and I'll be sending a Charlotte just asked, can you access your savings at any time? Absolutely, you can. The £5 needs to be in your account at all times. Any other amount you can send to your current account through online banking at any time. If you don't have online banking, Charlotte, again, contact me and we can set you up on that. So that just, yeah, thank you, Charlotte. So it's nice being interactive like this. Thank you very much for coming on. As I say, the recording come out with a survey, if you mind filling the survey in and just letting other people know about it. And just quickly to say that I also come into any staff meetings. I can do that by Zoom or in person, but most often by Zoom. I'm more than happy to meet with your managers and your staff teams, Kirklees and Bradford Council, help to break the organisations down and just get that message out on just how important it is to get access to safe saving and borrowing. So thank you very much for everyone for joining today, yeah, have a good rest of the day. Thank you. I'll stop recording now.